Hello, hello, hello. Okay. One Great Earth channel. Currently looking. Currently, we'll be looking West Africa, Senegal. Still too big. It's not that big of a circle. Yeah. East of Nigeria, Cameroon. Those two areas we'll be looking at. Senegal just after changes. Great starts turning into a great desert, lush wilderness. Now the area of Senegal that we've been seeing the fires mostly are in Tambacounda. I believe the fires were mostly on the southeastern side of Senegal, as in Tambacounda. We come down here to Senegal. Turn the time span so I just increase it just a couple more days. We include some scans from the previous days. Yeah, you see a lot of fires up here. Pretty big fires, actually. And you're not going to see that because I still have Google Earth covering everything. I apologize. Go back down to that. It's a grouping of wildfires near a river in China. Okay, now. Up here. Take these off. There are a horrible amount of fires in Senegal and in central Senegal. These are all fires within the last few days. You can tell because they're still very dark from the burns. And there has to be hundreds of them on each side of the river. Just being on the other side of the river doesn't really mean anything when it comes to a wildfire. It will find a way. It gets carried over. Except since the vortex of the channel. Seeing a lot of fire here, but it's small patchy fire. It's only a few large fires like this. You get to the end of the river. Get this giant mass at the end of the river. 29th? 29th. Yeah, just within a day or so. Continues to grow, burn. Head south, head north. It hits all the stops. Not seeing a lot of smoke in these areas either. These fires are just flash fires, brush fires. Nothing too big, but it's just scarred, pock marks with scars just everywhere. There are fires. Normally, when you see a lot of fires like this, they burn towards each other. Smoke will tighten up the fires. But this is otherworldly to me. I haven't seen any other area that's as spaced out, spread out, and the severity of the burn can be 20%, it can be 80%. The land is still burned, even though that it is fading away. The burns, just a little south here, and just massive amounts of burns. There has to be hundreds of fires in Senegal alone. Senegal going into Caves region, the Burkina Faso. There, I would say hundreds. We're looking at, there's a lot of fires that are just, we're just fires, and they went out, and they, oh, here's caves. Yeah, so give you some context of scale of the kind of fires that we are looking at. This is the fucking size of caves. So that is just caves, okay? Now let me zoom out. Get rid of that. You see the scale of what we're talking about here. When you have this big city called Caves here, and you have hundreds of wildfires, not even brush fires, bush fires, spot fires, but it's really difficult to get around in these locations, especially down on a river system. There's also a high chance of wildlife conflicts as well fighting these kinds of fires. Burkina Faso, I would say, was patient zero, or no, I should say, point of origin, because it's looking like Burkina Faso has been burning and burning and burning and burning without ever letting up. But it's not normal, typical wildfire, brush fire, bushfire activities that we normally see. I would say these are human caused. Can't say what for sure. Maybe agricultural. Maybe some controlled burns got out of the weeds. This is ridiculous. There's just hundreds of fires that have burned over here the last few weeks, and we actually do have a live fire here that's burning. Little guy right here. So let's go back up a little bit and turn on the time lapse so we can at least see a little bit of what it is. So about a month ago, lush, green, beautiful, and the fire started coming in here in the western side in the middle up here. They just, once the fire hits a slope and gets into a momentum, it's difficult to put it down. Fires are just massive. One of these fires could overrun easily a town or a village that we're looking at, and they're not much bigger than, let's say, a few kilometers. but it's the distance these fires can run. Like this looks like a mining consortium right here that it's currently burning. This is a 9 kilometer or so operation. You see all these fires burning all west of here. This looks like a quarry. It does look like there's a few quarries here, and they might be mining minerals here. And what you don't want to catch on fire is your tailings dam. That is all the worked liquids, fluids from the mining operations. You don't want to catch that on fire or break that open. These fires, they... More here. Just one of these fires would run the length of one state in the United States. These fires are huge. Trying to find a way to save. It's like driving from Florida, Georgia. That's just the extent of the fire's trip, not your own personal trip. See how fast this fire has all this lush and fresh fuel. Now it's always talked about that fire is a natural element, naturally occurring element, but not when unnatural events are unfolding. Say people burning agricultural land for purposes that they probably won't even understand. That's why they'll get angry if you ask them, why are you still burning your crops? No. India hasn't learned yet. Africa still burns crops. Burning the land is always something. It's always lie. It's always something about destroying, pulverizing the land before you replant. Why? It was a successful crop last season. Why do you have to burn it all the moisture out, all the rich moisture history of the land, and just dry it out? Because what you're really doing is you're burning out all the moisture, all the water. That's what you're really flushing out, and that isn't flushing out. Flushing is a completely different. Never mind. But this is dozens and dozens of fires just in this area alone. All along this river here. These fires there's so many of them. They're so large. And they're all different temperatures it burned. Okay, well, that was Senegal to Burkina Faso and Mali. Mali's shaped like a boot. So all three of these countries right here are experiencing wildfires. Just the hundreds of wildfires that are just propping up other wildfires. Cameroon as well, seeing a number of fires. West Africa has been picking up in activity immensely. Nothing extreme, but they are becoming very close to sensitive groups, crowds, villages, cities. Do a time lapse this area over Cameroon. These fires just creep up and they get huge within a day or so. Nigeria here, country of over 230 million people. All these fires happening just on the outside. These these burns look so strange. I don't think this is smoke that we're seeing here. I think this is all cloud coverage, but still, there's hundreds. It looks like a battlefield. It looks like a lot of shelling marks. It looks like a battlefield. Still, dozens of active fires burning across the land of Senegal to Mali till you get to Burkina Faso, and then there's an eruption of fires. Don't know the origin, don't know. People are working these fires, probably, because we've seen evidence of worked fires, because otherwise the little circle would have been burned. Mining operation. A lot of mining operations in West Africa. Over the hills, over the water, riverbanks. Now here is a deep-seated burn. Here. These fires can move. Just a few short days. It can cover over 70 km at least. As in just the, let's say like 5 acres of land that the fires keep munching around. They'll do that until it gets to be hundreds of acres. In this case, only 22. But it goes 22 kilometers, 22 kilometers, 22 kilometers, 22 kilometers. It's like a carriage return on a typewriter. The next line. These are pretty ferocious looking wildfires. Probably the biggest I've seen in West Africa so far. But the whole fire itself, if one perimeter is already burned, you have your already burned perimeter, and you have your active perimeter. And on fires like these, it's difficult to assign them a name or anything really, because Tomorrow they can be another 5 kilometer uh, north because of going over these ridges or these riverbanks. Anything with a slope, fire will just explode in activity over it. It goes down and then back up, or up and just continues going up. Especially if it's a rocky outcrop with vegetation that can climb, the fire will climb and consume the vegetation. They're really wildfires we're looking at. See even just how many fires are still burning in this area. Right before we get to the caves region. Blotchy. It's spotty with wildfires, and it's blotchy with brush fires. And there is a lot of burns throughout this year, at least, that have been fading away. So seeing all this darkened land, it looks like the activity's picking up again in West Africa. We're seeing a lot of fire. What we're seeing here is not a representation of fire on a satellite. It is fire that you're looking at live on a satellite shot. How the fire looks from satellite. And I might have muted myself before I could say hold on. Fix my camera before it fell down. Now we have another number of fires here. So right here, that fire just rages. Start getting a more fuller burned picture like this. Trying to follow the fires daily isn't exactly something that I could do. There is so many fires that break out of different sizes, and really the sizes that interest me the most are ones like this that you can see from satellite just by zooming in. I didn't know that the fire was here. I just saw some darkened land and zoomed in. It's really, when you go in expecting anything, you're usually satisfied. It's like, wow, there's dozens and dozens of 4 kilometer plus fires that have been burning over the last few weeks around here. Actually, the last week. It looks like most of these burns have been the last week, so it's, when you get across the river, it's darker here. Much darker because the fires are just more recent. Let's do a color shot. Okay, so this is on the 7th. Yeah, the fires just stay clumpy and they just burn all over the place. No matter if it's a river, catch the river on fire. But if there is drought, it'll just go over the river, go over the sandy river. So many fires burning. These must burn really fast because they're not connecting. These fires aren't staying with their nose to the wind. Except this one right here. Like the other fires, it's gonna burn its way out. It has all the fuel it could ever want. And there's a fire just to the south of it as well. Now, oh yeah, I did say there was some fires around Tamakunda. You can see a little bit more. If I get a scan of that. There we go, Tamekunda. Now, in a lot of the African cities, you'll see one of these. You'll see city. And it's defending itself from a number of wildfires over the last few nights, looks like. Be able to see how successful these states are in dealing with these traveling fires, as the fire will transit over under the smoke. So we're not seeing a lot of smoke. So these fires could be some of these could be pretty deep seated, and I've just been sending out wildfires north and west. It looks like just some areas are burning the most, and then you have a lot of the duller more seasoned fire, so it's gonna be brighter of a land. This right here must have been just recent, and everybody can see the fire. Again, we can zoom in on Tamekunda. You can just see how densely populated Tamekunda is, and just the airport looks like dirt, or it actually caught on fire. Let's take a look at it. Looks some strange markings on it. Yeah, it's just how it looks. Oh no. Does look like a wildfire got a hold of the airport. Go into true color. That looks bizarre. Yeah. Yeah, fire affected this airport here. That is the Tamekunda airport. The southeast of it, very densely populated. Let's see. Tamekunda is Senegal's largest city as well. I don't remember the population amount, but it is the largest city in Senegal. And it is threatened by wildfire. So imagine this, you're in this city, you're off the road up here. You're in the city, and this is your field of vision while you're fighting these fires right here. Smoke and the curvature of the earth, you're going to start seeing this smoke next. These are miles away as well. These are not small distances. You're not going to see these fires, and the smoke will hide it, especially if it's under behind a slope, a hill. So many fires, and you see these fires just racing across. They're all about the same size as the airport as well. A lot of beaten up land. Bad Badinka. Name of that? Can't see it under the blue. Bam Badinka. And they'll see a little bit of a fire right here. Right here. This guy go, oh. That fire is gone. Up here. That's gone. That's a smoldering fire up there in the northwest. It explodes in size. So within 2 weeks, covers lots of ground, many hundreds of miles or kilometers are burned. That's what's really important is, besides this airport being burned, but hopefully that hope for the best. But fire's unpredictable. Fire terrifying, and to be surrounded by fire in a city while you see people that have been preparing, that are fighting this, lose your airport. I'd be very afraid. It does look like the airport is lost. No matter what band I put it under, it's a completely different texture, it's different color. Like that airport got burned pretty savagely. Without remorse, fire has no way of asking or thinking or anything really. It just is. But the amount of fires that have been burning all over here in Senegal, up to Tamekunda, you have all these city rivers, slopes. Fire comes down, back up on the other side. You see that a lot, especially in these river systems. Live fire right here. Spending a lot of time in Senegal because these fires are recent. You see here, 15th. We've been seeing a lot of week of the 12th. A lot of fires in the week of the 12th to the 15th or so. Have had a lot of fires that have grown out of control. If there was a controlled burn, but again, we can't see fire trucks from this scale of satellite. They get really finer. And anyways, we don't know the way this fire is moving. It's always out and around, but it's a lot of fields that are being burned right alongside a river system here. Some little smaller villages around the area. Again, what we were looking up here. Componten? You know, this is more the kind of lush vegetation that we're looking for. And then you see these just insane burns. They must have burned really fast and flashed, or they must have been put down. Either way, the fires are enormous and they are everywhere. Yeah, that's Senegal. Senegal, the Cays regions, Mali, to Burkina Faso. Seen a lot of fires. Come down to Limpopo in South Africa. See these scars? Yeah, that's from a fire. This is Limpopo in South Africa. A little bushfire activity, nothing to be alarmed about. Maybe up here. 20 kilometers, that's a hell of a fire. And again, looks to be next to a mining consortium. Looks to be mining related. Hopefully it's not from industry that these fires are being created. My, what a hell of a fire. See, 88 square kilometers. And the fire consuming what was left. So if it is being fought, it's winning. Limpopo, quite a few bushfire. Whoa, 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 whoa. That's a big one. That is a large wildfire north of Limpopo in South Africa. A lot of cloud coverage until the day before, the 24th. We see where the fire clearly starts here in the center of the screen. Now again, the date is always going to be up here at the top right. (11/20). Next frame. Ish. So within a few short days, here are some fires. What they look like here. These fires just keep coming back. This is by a fire right there. Cute fire, but pretty massive burn here. Still in South Africa, or actually it might be Zimbabwe. I went up quite a bit north. Please run. Next slide. Next slide. And then the 29th. This is fucking huge. Pretty massive. Huge. Flow of fire. Causing this great smoldering effect at the bottom of this fire. Fuck. Where did this fire even come from? Just the day before, 24th, actually the scan before the 24th. The night, the 29th. Right over here, just to the east of that fire too. Okay, this is fucking nuts. We're looking at these fires in Senegal, but now it's starting to get fucking nuts over here in South Africa, Zimbabwe. 29 kilometers, that is definitely the longest fire that we found today. And it's still growing. Let's make another time lapse of it. But for this region that is experiencing fire in its east. Okay, so you got nothing here, and then the 29th, boom. Within a couple of days, these fires can run. But just look at this tremendous heat as these two fires merge. You're seeing two fires merge. All this is going to be dropped. Fire's probably going to come out like this. I believe this is still in South Africa, so these fires are in South Africa. Pretty massive. Very, very surprising. A lot of ground chipped away. We come up here to Botswana. Yeah, Botswana's seen some fire. But this might be agricultural. This fire's still active. Time lapse. These fires are just very strange looking as they burn. They're not burning everything 100%, they just keep coming back. Okay, so from South Africa to Western Australia. Alright. I have to do Australia another time. Spent more time in Senegal than I needed to, or wanted to. Matter. Cameroon, Senegal, Burkina Faso, seeing a lot of fires. And next time I'm streaming, I will do Australia. Please for watching, like and subscribe. Helps me out immensely. Thank you. Have a good night. I'm not done yet. No, I'm done.